to hit me up on my Instagram.
Welcome to Mo Sports. Well, yesterday was a lot for football fans. A lot. We're talking about the championship playoffs. We're talking about the Champions League final. We're most importantly talking about all the hype, all the chats, all the sad news, all the tears, and all of the happiness. Welcome to Mo Sports. My name is Mo, and I'm joined as usual by Mr. OB.KNOWS himself. He looks a little bit distressed, a little bit distraught, but it's not because Man City lost. It's because he's a man of his word. He's a man of his word. But let's carry on. Let's talk about what's coming up on today's show. Well, that's OB.KNOWS' job. What I'm supposed to give to you is the Mo riddle. So let me read it out for you. Let's put it on the screen so you can read it out for yourself. It says, I'm a Colombian international. You know, you hear Colombia, you think of like, you know what I'm saying? In the groove, eh? I'm a Colombian international who made a name for himself at Porto after scoring 41 goals in 51 games. I just wanted to make sure I saw that correct. He says, I joined Atletico Madrid where I replicated my earlier success before joining Monaco on a big money deal. Wow, it's very weird for you to hear Monaco, big money deal in the same sentence. In fact, with players going into Monaco, not players leaving Monaco. I'm currently applying my trade in Turkey, and who am I? If you have the answer, the number is 071-621-4746. And while you're on your phone, don't forget to SMS SUPATV to 30978. And if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, SUPATV can be found on the OpenView platform on channel 150. Make sure that you do get tuned onto that channel and watch Mo Sports every day from 1 to 2 p.m. OB.KNOWS.
Yeah.
What's coming up on today's show?
Why such a deep breath?
It's a lot.
Well, yeah, it is a lot we'll be talking about on the show. I almost said on the phone, but on the show, yes. We'll be talking about that Swallows draw. It is the 19th draw of the season for Swallows. We'll be talking a little bit about that and what we saw in that game. We'll also be talking about Brentford. It's been 74 years since they've been in the EPL, and they are currently back. They've won the championship playoffs. They are now preparing to be in the EPL. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. But let's kick it off with what's going on in the PSL.
Wow, the Swallows did circle for Mamelodi Sundowns because it ended in a 0-0 draw. And unsurprisingly, because Swallows have been the team to pick up draws this season in the PSL. I feel like they've made it an art. That's how many draws they've been able to pick up. In fact, their record at this moment in time, I'm looking for it right here. OB.KNOWS should know this record. 19 draws, yeah, only one loss.
The record was 18, so now they've made a new record.
19
now
draws.
They are 19
one
draws.
loss.
One loss.
19 draws.
And
one
8
loss.
wins. Yeah.
And 8 wins.
And 8
like
wins.
The wins are not important. 19 draws and 1 loss. That's a lot. I mean, in 20 games, you guys have managed just to lose once, but everything else has been shared points. Yeah. And it says a lot about the character of the team.
It does. I mean, one thing I can say from a positive point of view is that they're not losing games, and I think in the PSL, that's one thing that, you should be grateful for. I mean, because it's unpredictable in the PSL. You sometimes see, the teams at the bottom, like we saw with Kaizer Chiefs, losing to the team that's sitting right at the bottom of the league. So it happens in the PSL, that, teams are very inconsistent, but Swallows at least have been consistent without, losing. They've only lost twice this season, if you take into consideration the Nedbank Cup loss they suffered there as well. So I think it's been a very, very, I wouldn't say it's been a great season because of the draws that they've had. I think they could have done a little bit better. They could have got wins here and there, but I still don't think it's a disappointing one after all.
It's not a disappointing one at all. Now let's move on and talk about the goalkeeper for this side. OB.KNOWS. Who's Peterson?
Riyad Peters, former Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper. He grew up in the reserves of Bidvest Wits. He moved on to Shamrock Rovers in Ireland. Then he came back for Kaizer Chiefs. And he actually finally started for Mamelodi Sundowns yesterday, making his first appearance in the league this season. So I do think that, Peters was one of those goalkeepers. While he was at Kaizer Chiefs, he stood in for Itumeleng Khune a couple of times, and I thought he was very good. I mean, he wasn't a terrible goalkeeper at all. He was a solid goalkeeper, hence why he also moved to SuperSport United. But going to SuperSport United as well, we know who's the number one goalkeeper there. I mean, he had 100 league games in a row for SuperSport United, so clearly there's no one who can remove him. No one can remove him, But I think Peters is a very decent goalkeeper, and I think he should be at a club where he should be playing a lot more. I mean, he's 29 years old, and as a goalkeeper, those are the prime years. He's going into his prime years of his career. So I would really want to see him, at another club, because on top of that, the Bafana Bafana national team is still in a goalkeeping crisis. For me, at least, I still do think that Bafana Bafana in a goalkeeping crisis. I mean, look now, the squad has only selected 2 goalkeepers for their upcoming friendly against Uganda. So it does show that we do need some quality goalkeepers, and I do think that Riyad Peters, so should he get more game time come next season, if he moves, of course, he should move if he wants game time. He might just sneak himself into those national team slots once again.
Well, Bafana Bafana will tell you that we only took two goalkeepers because we have a plan A and a plan B. No need for a plan C. But let's move on and talk about Mr. Truter now. His new assistant coach is someone who was the head coach at Richards Bay FC. Why are we feeling sad about the situation?
Well, we're not really feeling sad about the situation, but I think it's more of a question mark. I mean, like we're saying, it's been 18 draws for Brendan Truter this season. Something that is, 19 now, since yesterday's draw. So it's something that's unprecedented. And, the question marks have been there. We've spoken about it before, especially with, David Mogashwa, the chairman, coming out and saying that, no, our coach is not going anywhere. He's here to stay. But then they went on and fetched another head coach from another team, which also raised a bit of question marks. But they're saying that he's going to be his first assistant coach. So I don't think Brendan Truter's job is in danger if I'm, taking the information that I've heard from the chairman himself. So I'd say that they're trying to build a way of playing. I mean, if you look at the way Richards Bay Richards Bay FC play, they were giving Orlando Pirates quite a lot of slack. I mean, they played Pirates in the Nedbank Cup, and they showed Pirates, what they're all about. They play the ball on the ground. So I do think that looking at the way Swallows play, they like putting the ball on the ground as well. They don't like, playing route one football or very direct. They like, moving it around the midfield. So I think with the addition of Simo Dlala, they're adding more towards what they tried to get, which is more ball-playing football. So I don't see it as a bad signing, but it did actually raise question marks around the future of Mr. Truter himself.
Well, it's not a big question because he's still the head coach, he's still the manager. And as you know, in football, I mean, when you look at football internationally or on the English stage, you always hear of a manager and there'll always be coaches. There's a difference between a manager and a coach. The manager runs the team. He runs the entire setup. The coaches will run little facets of the team. I mean, you have a goalkeeping coach, you have a defensive coach, you have an attacking coach, you have a transition coach, you have the first team coach.
We don't have that.
So in South Africa, but the thing is, with the resources that we have in South Africa, it's nice to see teams saying you need a first assistant coach. It's nice to see teams to say, like with what they did at Mamelodi Sundowns, to say we need 3 first team coaches. You know what I mean? It shows that we're moving into a understanding that football cannot just be one man's responsibility to run a team of 23-man squad and plus a technical team of doctors, fitness physicians, and all those people. You need some people that will bring a different aspect, a different knowledge to the game. And once you combine all of those elements, you make a winning team. Because if I'm seeing one thing, you might not be seeing it, but you might see something else. Maybe my biggest talent as a coach is man marking. I can see who's the danger in the other side and who needs to be nullified. And I can always advise the manager to say, look, that guy who's playing in the midfield, let's say for example N'Golo Kante, he needs to be nullified. He needs someone to sit on him and make sure that he's not able to play the ball. Maybe you're good at looking at the entire setup and you say maybe the shape is wrong. Maybe once we get someone on N'Golo Kante, then you can manipulate the shape as to how do we play around that manipulation. But it's something that we're starting to pick up in South African football. It's actually a good thing because it's not just a one-mind game. It is a chess game of epic proportion. Let's move on and talk about TS Galaxy and Orlando Pirates. OB.KNOWS.
It's an interesting game. I mean, TS Galaxy, I'd say they could count this season as a successful one. I mean, they're not at the bottom of the table. They're not, scraping for relegation to stay in, to stay in the PSL. They're actually trying to get themselves into, the top 8. So I think for them, it's been a successful season. Although, you might hear something different from the chairman himself. But from a footballing point of view, I think coming in from, the NFD, also not earning to be here. I mean, rather buying their way into this place and, performing the way they did this season. I do think that I'd say they deserve, to remain in the PSL with the way they've played. And OB.KNOWS as well. I mean, since he's come in, he came in, I think it was match day 11 when he came in and started coaching the team. And ever since then, he's lost a couple of games. I think he lost his first 2 games back to back, but then he started catching, some fire along the way, and the team started gaining its form. And I thought that the understanding between the players and himself, because some of those players that he's coaching there are from Highlands Park, so I do think, so I do think that worked along well with the team in terms of gelling into a style of play that OB.KNOWS would have preferred. So I think it's been a successful season for TS Galaxy, and we're waiting to see what happens next season.
All right, now let's talk about the one thing that nobody wants to talk about at this moment in time, and that's Joseph Zimbabwe. I mean, everybody right now is fuming at him for one or other reasons. I feel like the legacy of Orlando Pirates does not allow errors. It's almost the same thing at Kaizer Chiefs, where a coach comes in, tries to put something together. I mean, it's a team that you don't come and put something together. It's a team where you have to plug and play. We see that Chelsea as well. When coaches come in and they want to implement something new, something radical. We saw it also this season with Juventus, with Andrea Pirlo, trying to do something new, something radical, but that club is going to be like, bro, we are here to win trophies. You are killing us. We've been doing this for 100 plus years. You coming in with new ideas. So what is the cry now about Zimbabwe?
Well, the cry is, of course, about his recent results, and I think what ticked the Orlando Pirates fans off more was that 4-0 loss to Raja in the CAF competition. So I'm seeing that they're trying to have a strike now. The happy people are not so happy anymore. They're not so happy anymore, and it says on the 5th of June they want the coach out. So it's very different from what Kaizer Chiefs fans did. Kaizer Chiefs fans, they even said it at the march themselves that this is not about Gavin Hunt. We're not trying to get the coach out. We respect the decision to keep the coach in there. But they wanted to see some changes in terms of how the team is run, and it's vice versa in terms of the situation. Pirates don't seem like a very, badly run team, but they do need a much better coach who can, provide a lot more results, or much better results than what Zimbabwe has done. But I am not promoting this thing of, having fans go and march to the head offices to march against the coach. Since when are we a country that does that? But ever since we saw what happened overseas, we've been ticked off. We've been thinking, if they could do it there, we can probably do it here. And I think if it does happen, I think it might just work. I think Zimbabwe will be just granted by this march.
Well, I have no comments on this regard. So what we'll do is we'll go to the website, we'll do a head-to-head between the two teams in question, which is TS Galaxy and Orlando Pirates, and let's see how they square up against each other according to their stats and the numbers. Don't forget to access the Supabets website. All you need to do is SMS SUPATV to 30978. Let's go see what's going on over there. Because let's go to match info, Let's go to statistics. Let's make it, let's go to soccer. Let's go search for South Africa. Same time. And then our PSL. I got what can, A whole strike on the 5th of June. Let's go to fixtures. Isn't that on a Monday? So just wondering what days they're going to be on. Let's click on TS Galaxy and Orlando Pirates. Let's scroll down. As you can see, it's saying there's only been one meeting since 2021 and it was a draw. So no one has won this game just yet. And these are the two coaches that have played in all the fixtures in this. No, but as you can see, the form of the two sides, 2 victories in the last 6 for TS Galaxy, leaving their form at 33%. Not so good going into this game. While Orlando Pirates have the better form coming into this game, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, leaving their form at 50%. So let's see what it has to say. Let's scroll down to those 3 information points. It says Pirates' away record this season is 4 wins, 5 draws, and 4 losses. While it says Pirates have not won any of their last away matches. Wow. Now I see why the fans want to go protest. In fact, I see why the fans want to go protest. That second information point speaks a lot to the condition of the club at this moment in time. They haven't won in any of their last 8 away matches. Let's put that away. I know away form is always something that we look at when we want to talk about a team that is struggling, but a team of Orlando Pirates' stature should not be failing to win 8 games away from home. I remember when we were growing up, people used to say that Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, no matter where they play in the country, it's always a home game. So let's get ready to go to Egypt and see what's happening there. All right, due to time, what we're going to do is we're going to run straight to the website. Let me show you what's happening in the Egyptian Premier League in terms of the standings and in terms of what's happening with the upcoming fixtures. So to the website we go. We go to the website, we click on Africa, and then let's go look for Egypt. Same way we looked. Oh, there you go. Like this one doesn't know the website. This one, let's just scroll down a little bit. As you can see now, the most interesting thing is the top 2. Al Ahly right now at this moment in time are 5 games behind Zamalek, because Zamalek has played 24 games. Al Ahly have only kicked off in 19. But the craziest thing is that if Al Ahly want to stay in contention for this title or keep the pressure up on Zamalek, they need to win all 5 of their games in hand. Because if they win all 5 of their games in hand, they just go 2 points above where Zamalek sits right now. But if they lose just one game, they'll have to. They'll be trailing against Zamalek. So the next 6 games for them will be very crucial in this race for the title. I mean, they've won everything else there is to win right now this season in terms of last season qualifiers. But this season, they still have to win the league. They still have to win the CAF. They still have a lot to do for this season. But they've already picked up trophies. I mean, just this weekend they picked up another one. So Obi knows. Let's put them away. Let's talk about Pyramids, because a big conversation coming out of what's going on at Pyramids. Obi knows. What's happening to Pyramids?
Well, Pyramids, we've been talking about Pyramids in the context of CAF competition, and they were playing against the Nyimba in the last 8 of the CAF competition, and they had to travel, of course, in the second leg to Nigeria. And upon their arrival back in Egypt, they obviously had to take some COVID-19 tests, and it came out that most of their players had, contracted the virus. And I think, right now it takes me to a story which we'll talk about in a few. But I think what Pyramids are mostly complaining about is the way that the way they were treated at Nigeria. It wasn't a matter of they had the best security in terms of health. Maybe there were not enough sanitizers wherever they were. Those type of things. I mean, there wasn't enough health precautions taken for the team. They weren't happy with the hotel that we're staying in as well. So a lot was that they were complaining about at Pyramids. And it takes me to a story now. I mean, like in the Copa Libertadores, we had a team called River Plate from Argentina. They had to play because they had suffered over 20 COVID-19 positive tests. They had to play with only 11 players in a Copa Libertadores a game, which meant they didn't have any 4 of their keepers. So they had 4 keepers as well on their team list, but they couldn't play any of them because they were infected by the virus, and they had to play a midfielder by the name of Enzo Perez, who had to play 90 minutes in the game. And they actually ended up winning the game. They had 11 players, no subs, and they played against Santa Fe, a team from Colombia itself, and they still managed to get the 3 points in that game. It was a very interesting one to read about, actually, in terms of what's been going on in the context of COVID-19. And that is the guy I'm talking about. He's a 35-year-old midfielder. He's played as well for the Argentine national team, and now he's out there, diving and saving balls for his team there.
All right, now let's go straight to the break. When we come back, the conversation will continue, obviously, with what happened in the Champions League. But Obi knows is saying that Enzo Perez playing in goal. So all you indoor footballers, it's not a bad idea to be in the pulse for 90 minutes. Not a bad idea at all.
Uvukile umalamba. Now ungapopa with Supabets. Simply SMS SUPATV to 30978 and start playing.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. Well, my name is Mo. I'm joined by OB.KNOWS as usual, and we're talking all things football. Well, what a weekend it has been. I mean, all the build-up to the Champions League final. It was the Sky Blues versus the London Blues, and everybody was either a fan or a hater or just the neutral, waiting to see who will pick up the historic trophy. Welcome to it. The channel is 150 on your open view decoder. It's Super TV powered by Supabets. Alternative means of catching us live is either through Facebook or on YouTube. You can go on those platforms and just search for us. When you find us, then you can follow or subscribe. Let me get you the Mo riddle before I get carried away. So he's a Colombian international. He played for Atletico Madrid, and he made a big money move to Monaco. If you know who he is, the SMS, WhatsApp the answer to 071-621-4746. While you're still on your phone, don't forget to SMS SUPATV to 30978. And remember when the show started, I said OB.KNOWS looks a little bit because he's a man of his word. Well, he is one hell of a man and one hell of a man of his word. OB.KNOWS, I want to quote you for a second, because I remember in the semi-finals he said, and I quote, "The winner of the Champions League will come from one of the two semi-finals," right? And the semi-final you picked, OB.KNOWS, was the PSG and Man City semi-final. What happened?
No, Mo, man. That's not what I said, Mo. Okay, it is what I said. I did say that. I really thought it would be PSG in the final.
Yes.
That's what I thought. I thought PSG would be in the final. And Chelsea did well. I mean, Chelsea really did well. I expected them to be in the final as well. I did say that. Why aren't you saying that? Why aren't you saying that as well?
No, we get into all the things you said. Oh, okay. Yeah, but you were still saying.
Yeah, I think Chelsea really did deserve it. I mean, you did say that history is going to repeat itself once again with Chelsea, and indeed it did. I mean, the way they went about it, in terms of the semi-finals, coming into the coaching situation as well, it was all history repeating itself, and it clearly did, and it's beautiful to see. And I don't want to apologize to Chelsea fans because I didn't say that,
No, you didn't mean it maliciously. Yeah. You were just saying. I mean, at the time, you need to think about who was in that semi-final. I mean, you're talking about Pep Guardiola at the peak of his powers. He was on his way to winning a quadruple at that point in time, and not only that, a PSG that was in the finals the previous season. Yeah. And you can't. I don't blame you for what you said. All I'm saying is that you did go with that semi-final, and that semi-final actually let you down. I just wanted the viewers to remember that if you watch Mo Sports and you follow what we talk about, some of these things, I mean, it's things that we have addressed in the past and we've talked about very extensively. But looking at the game, I just wanted to point out one thing. Now, before the game started, there was a little bit of a little history, little chat about everyone. I mean, you know how UEFA gets about the Champions League final. They want to interview everyone. And Thomas Tuchel, ironically, when he was still at Mainz, he was introduced to Pep Guardiola as, meet this guy, talk to him about football. Let's see if maybe you guys can work together. So at the time, he was the head of the Mainz team, and basically the idea that the sporting director from Bayern Munich had was get this guy in as your assistant. Picture that. Thomas Tuchel assist Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. So he didn't quite get the job. The job was not even offered to him, but it was a conversation that was being had, and it's something that was being addressed in the past. But ironically, he did say that I was starstruck when I met Pep Guardiola because I grew up watching him play football for Barcelona. And after getting starstruck and we had the conversation, that's when I got to be comfortable and we started talking football. Now, think about that. A couple of years later, this man, same man, you meet him in the Champions League finals. I find out that, look, he needed to win that final, Let's not lie about it. Pep Guardiola needed to win that final.
Yeah, Pep did need to win that final. I mean, it's a disappointment that he didn't win it. I mean, if you had to ask Siando was here yesterday and talking about, Pep Guardiola, he will say that Pep should be sacked. He spent so much money building this team. The way he went about it, the way he set up his formation as well, his lineup in general, it didn't look like he was a serious coach to win it, I don't know what was going through his mind. I can't really tell what he was thinking about. But
didn't have Messi.
No, it's not the fact that he didn't have Messi. I mean, he's won so many trophies without Lionel Messi in his life. Yeah, so it's just a matter of.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Has he won the Copa del Rey without Messi?
I don't know. Did he win it?
Has he won La Liga without Messi?
Well, he's not there anymore, is he?
Exactly. I know it's a very
It's
a very shallow argument, but exactly. Now let's talk about the players that kind of made history yesterday. Let's start off with Pulisic and the goalkeeper Eduardo Mendy. Now think about it. Eduardo Mendy, start of this season, he was not at Chelsea. He was not even in the Premier League, and now all of a sudden he's a Champions League winner.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, we were questioning his buy, because at the beginning we were talking about Kepa and making so many mistakes and all of that, and they brought in this guy, and this guy finally made history. You know, he made history. He's actually, I said on my Instagram yesterday that he was the first African to actually win the UEFA Champions League, and I stand to be corrected because Bruce Hrobela was the first one to win it. But this guy is the first one to win the UEFA Champions League. By that time, it was still called the European Cup.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just
like, but Bruce has the title.
It was just a branding situation. You know, but nonetheless, I mean, he stands as he's part of the history makers in terms of goalkeepers. I mean, 9 clean sheets in one season of the Champions League, equaling himself with the likes of Keylor Navas in there, you know. So I do think that it's been an absolutely brilliant season. It's not what I expected from Chelsea in general. I did expect them to give, you know, a big shot in the league and, you know, prepare to, you know, attack Manchester City in terms of points and, you know, kind of bridge the gap between there. But it went sideways and they ended up actually winning the Champions League, something I didn't think they would do, not even this season.
You know what makes me so proud of Eduardo Mendy? That key pass that led to the goal, because he was involved in the ball being passed back to him. He played it right to the right-hand side. They played it back to him. And Man City players, I want you to go watch that goal over again, because when the goalkeeper receives the ball, there's 4 players in front of him from Manchester City. He passes the ball to the right. All 4 of those players, not being defensively minded players, all drifted to the right-hand side to the flank to go try high press, you know how they usually do in the league. And then when the pass went back to the goalkeeper played it to the opposite side, I think to Reece James. I don't know, Reece James was the one who passed the goalkeeper.
That's basic.
So by the time he shared it to the other side, OB knows, there was 4 players from Manchester City on this wide side. They were overloading on the wrong side. Riyad Mahrez was not marking anyone. He was standing in ample space. By the time the ball went out to the flank, then the whole defense got pulled apart by that one pass from the goalkeeper. Because then Kyle Walker had to go cover. The player was open to go and receive the ball on the touchline. By the time the ball gets laid off and played back into the midfield, you have John Stones trying to cover that. By the time that player looks up and looks forward, Ruben Diaz is running following Timo Werner, and that's how that goal happens. All I'm saying is that Gundogan in that situation, I want you to go watch it again, because Gundogan was injured in training the day before and he still made it into the 11. But looking at how he was running to try and close, because he saw the situation. I mean, he looked to the player that was on the ball, he looked over his shoulder, he could see that, wow, okay, this guy is wrong, he's wrong side of the player that's going to get the pass. And he saw that whole situation, but because he was injured, he was running with a knock, he could not pick up the pace to try and block off that pass. And that led to the goal that actually ended up sinking Manchester City. But let's talk about the man of the moment, N'Golo Kante. Eh?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Guy just should get his Ballon d'Or. I mean, like, what more do you want from Kante? I mean, since he arrived at Leicester City, every season he's won a trophy. You know, he spent 1 season at Leicester City, won that league title, moved on to Chelsea, won a league title there. The next season they won the Europa League. Now they win in the Champions League. So, I don't know, man. It's just a matter of time this guy receives this Ballon d'Or, because he's running and bossing these midfields. I mean, both the games that they played against Real Madrid in the semi-finals, both of them, he was man of the match for both those games. So it just shows the quality that he possesses.
He's running out of space for
as a player. You know, he's running out of space, definitely. You know
what I love most? His family just looks like a humble bunch of people. Let's go to the website real quick. Let me go show you basically what the 2 lineups look like. We need more time today because we need to break this down. Let's go to the website. Let's go see the 2 lineups. Africa. Let's go to Africa. Let's go choose Europe. Oh, international clubs. Fixtures. Oh, should we be saying results? 1-0 clean. And bear in mind, Thomas Tuchel did lose it 1-0. Let's scroll down. So he knows, all I needed was 1 goal. All I need is 1 goal. So he was on that tip last night. So this is how they lined up. Let's start off with the Manchester City. They are in the red. As you can see, Ederson, solid goalkeeper. Combination at the back was Ruben Diaz and John Stones, with Kyle Walker and Zinchenko either side of the 2 central midfielders. Now, I mean, the 2 centre backs. Now, looking at the midfield for Manchester City, there was no traditional defensive midfielder. Ilkay Gundogan was the one who was to play the pivot in the middle, but I said he was playing with a knock, and you could see it in the way he was moving around the pitch. He had Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden either side of him, with Kevin De Bruyne sitting in front of the 2 in front of that back and that midfield 3, with Riyad Mahrez and Raheem Sterling playing in that top 2. Now, let's go on to the other side. We'll get OB.KNOWS' reaction about this, because I know he's going to have a lot more problems than I did. Let's go down, OB.KNOWS. Let's see the formation. That's where the money is. So as you can see, the formation, not a very tricky one according to the website. It's a 4-2-2-1. So now here's the 5-2-2-1. So you had Eduardo Mendy in goals, with Reece James, Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, who got injured towards the end of the first half, and actually had to watch the goal from the bench. He lost his mind, he put his shirt on his face. And as you can see, Rudiger and Ben Chilwell in that back 5, with Jorginho and N'Golo Kante in that two men pivot in the deep midfield, one to do the passing, one to do the box-to-box. And there's Kai Havertz and Mason Mount, two of the young, most brilliant players this season in the Champions League. And there's Timo Werner, the one player that everybody was like, man, why is this guy? In fact, I said it. If we're gonna quote OB.KNOWS, you should quote me too. I did say what I had. He was a pop pie. That's what I said at the start of the season. But he proved me wrong. Let's put it away, OB.KNOWS. And it seems to have worked out for one coach. But let's start off with the other coach. Let's talk about Pep Guardiola. Your thoughts?
Central defensive midfield is a very important role. That's the first one I'll say. That's the first thing I'll say. You know, that central defensive midfield is more important. Manchester City have played 60 games this season. And out of 59 of those games, Pep has had to play a central defensive midfielder in 59 of those games. Whether it was Fernandinho or Rodri. Out of all of those games, he chose the final.
Not to play Rodri.
Not to play Rodri or Fernandinho. You know, so I don't know, it was disappointing to see because one thing that Manchester City pride themselves with this season is Ilkay Gundogan making those late runs towards the edge of the box and getting those goals. You know, from the beginning of the season, that's one thing he's been doing. He's been that late runner into the box and getting the goals for Manchester City. But now he is playing very deep. He was not getting that pass to make sure to get into, you know, that last final third. So I do think that not only did it take away from the defensive play, but it also took away from the way they attack, because we have been praising Manchester City for scoring goals without needing a striker, and they tried to do it again yesterday. But now without that late run into the box, they lacked a lot of the attacking prowess. So it was disappointing to see it. I mean, I think Raheem Sterling was very flat, and I thought rather, you know, he would have started with someone who's been on fire this competition, Phil Foden, starting ahead more a bit further up the pitch than he did, because he started in that position where rather you would have had a De Bruyne fill in there, and you move Gundogan up further front and maybe have space for Rodri or Fernandinho to fit in. So it was I don't know what he was doing tactically. It looked like to me he was trying to run past this Chelsea team. He was trying to match the athletic prowess of Chelsea, you know. And I think that's one thing you can give Chelsea. They're a team that run a lot, and I think Pep was just trying to match them in that way, but it just didn't work out for him.
So let's talk about Thomas Tuchel now, the manager who won it but lost it last season with PSG. And don't forget, he lost it last season while he was on crutches with just one foot. And this season, he made sure that he could run with the trophy because he is now the Champions League winner. So what a coach. For me, when I looked at the entire game, I believe that, you know what, don't change the formula that got you there in the first place. We saw it when Tottenham played Liverpool. They got there, they changed the formula, they were benching Lucas Moura, and that's basically what led to them losing the Champions League final. We saw it again last night with Pep Guardiola changing his formation. But on the other side of the pitch, Thomas Tuchel going with a trusted method, and look at that tactical genius. I mean, he won it. He won it with time to spare. I mean, that goal coming from a dire defensive mid. I mean, we did talk about the CDM position for Manchester City. I mean, the gap was quite open, but looking at the highlights, I mean, just around the goal, you don't need to watch the full 90 to understand just technically how badly Pep got it. Because at some point, there was a circle of players, literally a circle of players, no lines. No, I mean, for someone who's been renowned for his lines, his quartering, to say, use too many of you on this quarter, there's too many of you on this quarter, spread yourself out. I mean, Pep is known for that. A lot of coaches that follow Pep's philosophy teach how to play in small spaces, teach how to use spaces. But last night, it looked like a Manchester City that didn't know what they were doing. I literally saw that, I think it was the 40th minute. Yeah. They were in a circle. They were in a circle. I remember James passed Kante then ran into the midfield. They were in a circle. There was no control.
I think that's one thing that Chelsea do to you when you play against them. They force you to play in central positions. But in that central position, Kante is not going to make it easy for you to move around in that position. So I do think that Chelsea's style of play is meant to keep you out of the wings, because that's where they have Reece James winning all the duels in there and, you know, Ben Chilwell on the sides. But when you come into the middle, which is where they want you to play, they've got Kante dealing with you. And I think that's what happened with Manchester City yesterday. They couldn't get out into the wings, couldn't get into those channels of spaces. And that meant that they had to go through the middle. And in the middle, you've got Kante. And then once you pass him, you've got to deal with Aspilicueta and Rudiger. That's a whole lot of people.
You don't want to pass him. Now, we need to be honest. I mean, the high press yesterday didn't work for Manchester City, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't work for them the rest of the season. I mean, the goal that led to them, the goal that they conceded was because they were trying to do something they did to Liverpool successfully, which is press high, force the goalkeeper to make an error, get a goal. But it didn't work for them because they did press high. Bernardo Silva and them being dragged. I mean, they had 4 players dragged out of position before Chelsea went on the counter. So it's something that Pep has to definitely go look at. But for all those anti-Pep fans, congratulations, you have one more piece of material material to use against them on your first start, saying Pep is the best in the world. For us who are just pure fans of football, we looked at that final and we asked ourselves one question. And the question will always be, why did Pep start without a CDM? On top of that, why did he want to play a high line against a team that will play a low block and try to catch you on the counter? A team with pace, a team with young pace, that's the biggest problem. I mean, you know, Kai Havertz was in there, Timo Werner was in there, but he still attempted to do that. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation, but not with the Champions League. We have to move on to other leagues and cups.
Love to play?
Breaking with my triples, yeah. And the win and the
Don't miss out on your favorite instant and live games this week. Catch Let's Play every day of the week at 2:30 p.m. only on SUPATV OpenView channel 150.
Evolution Games presents live Blackjack. The fastest, slickest, richest featured online blackjack game ever. Be the Boza Yamaboza. Be the blessed of the blessers. Live and ready to give you moolah. Watch us play blackjack on Super TV, channel 150 on OpenView, or SMS Super TV to 30978 and play it yourself.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. Now, you're joining us just after a fiery debate about the UEFA Champions League. Well, it's been one hell of a roller coaster ride getting to that point in the Champions League final, where there was two English sides once again. The second all-English final in 3 seasons. Welcome back to Mo Sports. My name is Mo, and I'm joined by OB.KNOWS as usual to talk all things football. Let me give you the Mo Riddle. I mean, if you don't know what the Mo Riddle is all about, it's that piece of trivia where we test your footballing knowledge, and you can submit your answer by saving the following number, which is 071-621-4746. And once you save that number, you can submit your answer via WhatsApp. Now, the Mo Riddle today is about a Colombian international who made a big money move to Monaco, but also played for Atletico Madrid. Who is he? If you have the answer, well, he's still playing his trade in Turkey. Well, if you have the answer, like I said, the number is 071-621-4746. Let's continue the conversation with the championship playoffs. 74 years is a long time to wait for anything. I mean, people have waited longer, shorter for freedom. But Brentford had to wait 74 years to play in the top flight of English football once again. Are they ready?
Are they ready is a big question. I mean, I don't know if they are ready. I mean, I watched a bit of the playoff yesterday of what I could see. And to be honest, there's nothing incredibly special about them, right? But I will say one thing about this team, that the past 2 seasons, they've managed to get to this point. They sold Ollie Watkins to Aston Villa last season. They sold Said Ben Rama to West Ham. Those are 2 of their most important attackers in this team. And they didn't look like they missed them at all this season. They still got to the point where they were last season and even made it into the EPL. So I think they are much better outfit they were last season, but I don't see anything special with them to say that they will stay in the Premier League next season. I can't even say that right now. But one thing I will say is that they're a very hardworking team and they don't depend on individuals. But this season they have one man to thank, and that's Ivan Toney.
So you're not saying that they have to thank Thomas Frank? I mean, Thomas Frank had you saw with that second goal, he didn't know what to do. Should I celebrate? Should I cry? Is this happening for real? I mean, to go 2-0 up against a Swansea side that has played in the Premier League. I mean, they still have players that have played in the Premier League for Swansea. I mean, Andre Ayew missing one hell of an opportunity with that header. And still, Swansea kept knocking for most of that game. I mean, towards the end, Swansea still looked like they was trying to get themselves back into the game. But this man, Ivan Toney, now, get this. He was a Newcastle United player. Yeah. Newcastle United let go of him for just 390 euros. And then now he's worth 18 million. But most importantly is his goals. I mean, Obi knows, how many goals has this guy scored?
33 in 48 games.
33 in how many games?
In 48 games. And this is 2 goals. 2 of those goals were scored in the playoffs. One was scored in the semi-final, and the other one was scored yesterday. And it's a very important player for this team, you know, and he's scoring so many goals. And that's one thing I've seen about a lot of English strikers, right? That they score a lot of goals in the championship, but once they get to the EPL, they struggle. Charlie Austin is one. Che Adams is one, who's currently at Southampton right now. We've seen this happen before, you know, so I don't know if he's Premier League, you know, quality material, but we'll have to wait and see what he's all about. But one thing I will say is that he's a brilliant striker. He knows perfectly when to strike the ball. I saw one of the highlights as well that I saw from the game was when he chested the ball and he hit a volley and it hit the woodwork. And I thought to myself, like, wow, what a strike that was. You know, composure, surrounded by about 3 defenders, but still managed to do what he wanted to do. I think he's a very terrific player, but we'll have to wait and see what he has to give in the EPL.
Well, it's a condition that we need to now debunk a little bit. Now, the 93-94 season saw a lot of top goal scorers, and only 1 out of a list of 10 was outside of England. So now, in that top 10 top goal scorers of the 93-94 season, we're talking about your Alan Shearers were in there in second with his goals, and all 10 of those players were English, and only Eric Cantona, sitting at number 7, was French. Look a couple of years later on, Obi knows, and now the legacy of goal scorers in the Premier League has moved away from English players and moved towards players outside. I mean, after Alan Shearer, we look at another notable name, which was Michael Owen. There was also Robbie Fowler in that time. And you're looking, all these guys were English, but Wayne Rooney also fell into that category of goal scorers in the 2000s. And then you look at everybody else. The Invincibles had Thierry Henry. Manchester United had Ruud van Nistelrooy. After Ruud van Nistelrooy, they had Ronaldo. And then you look at Liverpool, they had Luis Suarez with his goals. You had Didier Drogba with his goals. And if you look at the Premier League in its all essence right now, the goal scorers are coming from outside of the land. Yeah. Most of the teams are opting for your Agueros, your South American strikers, your Robert Firminos, your Mo Salahs, your Manes, all those players, I mean, all these attacking players, are starting to come from outside of the land. And it's starting to look like England, only thing they can boast about at this moment is the midfielders.
I mean, one thing that England doesn't have is a person who I would say is a utility forward, someone who can play any area of the front 3 positions. You know, someone who can play as a central attacker, a left wing or right wing. They don't have that. I mean, the strikers they have right now is players like the likes of Ollie Watkins, who's actually right there in this 33-man squad, the professional squad. So that's one thing that England doesn't have. Harry Kane, you can't move him out wide. You can't expect him to score a lot of goals from out wide. You know, so I think one thing that England do need is to have players who are able to move very utility, who can be used in any position in terms of those front 3 positions. I mean, we're looking at Timo Werner right now at Chelsea. He can play off the left.
Course.
He can play up front. He's a player you can use anywhere. But then on the bench you have a Tammy Abraham who can't play on the wide side, but rather you have to play him up top. And that's one thing I think England are lacking, a utility forward.
If I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, is that England is now breeding a number 9. They're breeding number 11. They're breeding a number 10. They're breeding a winger. They're breeding a striker. They're not breeding a versatile player. I mean, Timo Werner, for what he's done this season, I mean, he's not been the goal scorer. He's not been the finisher, but he's been the creator of the chances with his run, his intelligent running. Let's look at Spain's selection side. We did see England's one, and the reason I'm avoiding it is because I don't want Obi to ask me that big question: who is missing? Because I don't want to get involved in that one. But this one, no Real Madrid players. Let's go see what's going on. Now the coach, his legacy was built at Barcelona when he went on to coach that side with Luis Suarez and Neymar. But here is his 23-man squad. We see De Gea made it in there.
Nice, Simon is in there.
Exactly.
Roberto Sanchez, he's the goalkeeper for Brighton. He's in there. Gaia is in there, he's a left back along with Alaba. Pau Torres, Aymeric Laporte, surprisingly, is in there. Eric Garcia, also big surprise that he's in there. Diego Llorente from Leeds. Azpilicueta, Marcos Llorente is in there.
He has to be in there.
Busquets is in there. Rodri, Pedri, Thiago, Koke, Fabian. You see Dani Olmo is in there. Oyarzabal is in there. Gerard Moreno is in there, who recently scored in the final of the UEFA Europa League. You see Morata, Fernan Torres, Adama Traore, and Sarabia. And I think that's a decent squad. Besides the fact that there is no Real Madrid players, I mean, I would have expected, just like England did. I mean, if you look at that England squad, they've got Jordan Henderson in there.
Of course.
It's because Of course,
You need an old head.
You need an old head.
And also you need a champion. You need a champion.
You need someone who can be able to talk down these young players, because they've got a lot of young players in that squad, and I think they are looking at the future. Of course, I mean, at this point they have there's not a golden era for Spanish football right now, so the only thing they can do is look into the future, you know. And I do think that in order for you to do that, you need to also at least have someone like Sergio Ramos in there. I feel like Ramos should have been picked in there, although if he's not going to be played in the games, he's there in the dressing room. He's bringing that aura of a champion, you know, that mentality of this is what we did in the 2010 FIFA World Cup. You know what I'm saying? That type of mentality.
Not only that, the 2 Euros as well.
The 2 Euros, the 3 Champions Leagues, the 4 Champions Leagues. Actually.
But also, you know,
should have been in there.
You need to remember that this man was coached by Vicente Del Bosque, who is Luis Enrique to him. I mean, he was coached by the man who made the Galacticos work, who won 2 Euros back to back and a World Cup in between. I mean, for me, I was telling a friend of mine, I'm like, if I was to name the top 5 best coaches, that man has to be top of the list, because wow, what an achievement that man has put together in world football. But OB knows, I just wanted to ask you this question. I know that we are done with the Champions League, we're done with French football, but have you seen Olivier Giroud's trophy cabinet recently?
What about it?
Have you seen it? Just added a Champions League title to it.
That's nice, though.
It's nice. That's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't make him a better striker than Benzema.
No, it doesn't make him a better striker, but
I thought that's where you were going.
No, I was not gonna go there. Just like, have you seen it?
Because I know you give players credit from what they've won. You don't give them of their actual talent.
Yeah, me, I just care about the overall result. I mean, N'Golo Kante is the best not because of what he's doing individually, but the effect he has on the team. I mean, he got to Chelsea, won the Premier League after winning the Premier League with Leicester the season before. That makes him a brilliant player for me. And if I was voting for the Ballon d'Or,
so if he didn't win, and he was just as good as he is,
I don't think with a player like that, I don't think you cannot win without N'Golo. I feel like he is a winner. I feel like the way he works, with that work rate, you cannot fault him. You cannot expect him to lose. Let's take a break. When we come back, this conversation will have to definitely continue.
How to register a new Supabets account. SMS SUPATV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the Supabets mobile site. Click login. On the pop-up, click register now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the Supabets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. Supabets, bet with the biggest.
Cece, why so jealous? Just SMS SUPATV to 30978 and get lucky yourself.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah.
Welcome back to Mo Sports Now. You've missed out on most of the show, but we have managed to have covered local football, international football, the Champions League final, the playoffs, and now we are about to talk about the international window that's coming up. Well, this is in a build-up to the Euros and a whole bunch of other things that are going to be happening with the international sides. We looked at Spain and England's 23-man squads, but it's time for us to move on and look at some other 23-man squads that are just doing the most. But before we do that, let's show you the Mo riddle now. He's a Colombian international. He's played for the likes of Monaco and Atletico Madrid, and he's currently playing in Turkey. Who is he? We already have a submission for the answer, and you know who you are. You're very right. You're very right. And he submitted his answer to the WhatsApp number I'm about to give you right now, which is 071-621-4746. Now, you know when people start saying Japan is replicating power lines. Who is power lines? What is power lines?
24-0. That's power lines.
So, for those of you that don't know Power Lines, Mamelodi Sundowns played a team called Power Lines, under some Power Lines.
Yeah,
And then,
Cape.
in the Northern Cape.
The Kimberley team.
A
I wonder if
Kimberley-
they still exist.
And then they got beat 24. I mean, it was a lot. They got thrashed for real. That was a thrashing. I don't know how more to explain it, because even the catch up couldn't put in all the goals. They highlighted like the first 3 goals, the 10th, 11th, the 18th, 19th, the 24th. They're like, those are the goals, bro. You don't need to see every one of those goals, because Mamelodi Sundowns just tore through their team. But now this is because Japan, in their last 2 qualifying games, have managed to put together a 14-0 and a 10-0 result. Bomino mino maraba moja bafethu.
24-0, kahle kahle.
How do you feel? Do you not feel like, let's stop, let's slow this down? I mean, already just 24.
No, I think that's very professional of them. You keep going, my guy. I mean, when you start doing what we do here in Mzanzu, Kalamabolo, doing all these things that we do, and then people start flating, it becomes disrespectful to the opponent. That's what Europeans would say. So I think it's good to see Japan doing that. I mean, it's very professional from them. They're showing their quality as a team. And hey, let them do more of this. Let them do more of it.
All right, let's go to the website. Let's go see what OB.KNOWS is talking about when he says they need to do more of this. Let's go see it. It looks like more like a netball score or something like that. Like, let's go down. Number 6 love. Look at the goals. No ways. So Japan has played 6 games. They have not lost or drawn any of those games. They've scored 37 goals and not conceded a drop. But look at who they play. Is that Magnolia down there?
Yeah, Mongolia.
No. Okay, that's Mongolia down there. And then there's you didn't get the joke. You didn't get the. OB.KNOWS is offline. Wait, I must get like a DSL cable and put you on.
But like some type of cocoa powder.
Mongolia. Isn't Mongolia? You see, hood pros. They'll talk about Mongolia. It's not Mongolia. It's Mongolia. Let's go down. Let's see those 2 results. As you can see, 10-0, 14-0, 2-3, 6-0 against Mongolia. Mongolia is a historic place. I mean, that's where, let's put the website down. That's where, not Oliver Kahn, man, the other Khan.
Which Khan?
There was a Khan that went around conquering Asia there in, Genghis Khan. It's from it's Genghis Khan. That's how we know Mongolia.
Oh,
yeah, because of Genghis Khan. I mean, he was a whole phenomenon.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know Genghis Khan?
Nah.
Do you know Oliver Kahn at least?
I know Oliver.
Yeah, you can keep this job if you know Oliver Kahn. Let's carry on and let's talk about the Copa America. What do we need to know?
2 things that we need to know. Copa America is a 12-team competition. And what they usually do is they invite 2 other countries from usually Asia to come and participate in their competition to make it a 12 competition team. So this year, they're going to be a 10 competition. It's going to be a 10 competition team because Australia and Qatar, 2 of the teams that won the last 2 Asian Cups, are not going to travel to South America to participate due to COVID-19. So it's going to be a 10-team competition. Yeah, it's going to be a top 10 competition, 2 group stages. It's going to be hosted between Bolivia and Argentina. Argentina, I think, are the main hosts of this tournament. And that's just the main 2 things that we need to know about Copa America. And most importantly, it's probably Messi's last one as well.
Why doesn't Australia have to remember? No, we can't go, but we have neighbors that really they will just go play. They don't care. They'll just go play. They should have told us. We would have went on their behalf. But let's wrap up the show today. I mean, we're going to look at the Copa in more detail. We're going to look at the international games in more detail in the upcoming episode because it's time for us to prepare for the Euros. And thank you for joining us throughout the season. I mean, we looked at all kinds of leagues. I mean, at this point in time, we covered League 1 from start to finish. We covered the Premier League. It's been a very interesting journey, and we had a lot of highlights. But before we let you go, let's give you the answer to the Mo riddle now. Any clues? One more clue, maybe?
He flopped at Man United.
I knew you would go for that one. Let's see who it is. Let's see who the answer is. It's Ronald Falcao. You know what I would have went for? I would have went for, he shares a name with a Brazilian futsal legend.
Nah, it's too simple.
You don't think that's a good clue?
I think that's it's a very simple clue. Everyone knows Falcao.
You know the Brazilian futsal legend or this one?
I mean,
like, how do we all know this guy, dude? How do we all know about this bro?
Falcao.
That Falcao, the Brazilian futsal one.
We had your TV. What do you want me to say?
Well, thank you for joining us today. You should join us again tomorrow from 1 to 2 p.m. as we look at the action from the weekend and start to look at how the PSL is going to be playing out come the midweek. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Hey, it's a Sundowns, aka Sans, aka your rich auntie. So please make sure to hit me up on my Instagram.
No march, no end.
Crazy that is, guys, it's a mask.
A mask is a mask.
That is so cool.
Yes! Yes!
The jump. I'm here for the jump. Yes!
That was so great.
Game over.
Can we try that?
Are you gonna go build it outside?
Yeah, let's do it. Tibbs is usually for these things. Can we do? Yes.
We do it.
Cool. Outside. We've got chairs. Okay. You. Who's running? Who's? Because I can't see any more chairs.
Ew.
And your dress, girl, and it's so pretty.
Yeah, no, and now I will supervise. I'll be the one playing.
I'll take points. The drama queen.
Eish, Nkosi. Anza mkhulu uzama kushaya namhlanje.
Oh!